Dakin. I'm a sailmaker. I work with Evolution Sails, formerly Quantum Sails. You guys have a fair number of our product in here. And I was asked to come down and talk a little bit about the albacore, the sail trim, the controls you have, and what you can do to the sails, how you can shape the sails, power them up or depower them, whatever, with the tools you have on the boat. I just had a look at one of the boats here, and they're fairly well standard set up. You've got your forestay tension, you've got your higher tension, say, boom vang, your main sheet, and your mast puller or mast ram. I see the boat there, it's just got a line around it that holds the mast steady. So let's talk about your jib luff wire first. So what does the jib luff wire do? When you pull that jib tension, what's going to happen? Forestay gets tighter. What happens if the forestay gets tighter? The jib gets flatter. The entry of the jib gets flatter. So it's a bit breezier, whatever, you want to pull that wire tight. And you have a Cunningham on the jib as well, right? Now Cunningham's the main end jib. For me, I just kind of like to pull the wrinkles in it, more or less pull the wrinkles in it. I'm not big on, unless it's really, really blowing, I'm not going to hammer the Cunningham down.
John,
yeah.
Did you say that Cunningham's the engine?
I didn't say the Cunningham's the engine, no. It's a control. So the jib luff wire tensioning higher is a control. That's the major control you have of determining how powerful your jib is going to be. You sag that wire off, and the jib gets deeper and deeper in the front. You pull that wire tight, and the edge of the jib flattens out. So it's a more high pointing shape and a flatter shape. That's the biggest control you have over your jib. I mean, assuming you just sheet the jib in and the lead's in the right place, the sail's not going to change shape much. It's pretty stiff. The cloth's pretty stiff. It's not some old cotton days where you can pull the draft around stuff. So you really just have that jib luff tension to power your jib up or depower. And your lead's moving around a bit, but the leads don't move that much from a windy day to a non-windy day. The lead should be in in the right position. I would say move your lead, assuming you don't change your mast rate, but you shouldn't move the lead more than an inch or two forward or back, max, absolute max. The mainsail, there's...
Sorry, John, can I go back to the forestay tension?
Yeah.
So, in what conditions are you saying, like 1 inch sag, 2 inch sag, no sag?
I would say sometimes you're going to be saying with 3 inches sag, maybe more even. The lighter the breeze, the choppier it is, the more power you want. If you're not going fast, ease it off. That's the general rule of thumb. If you're not going fast, ease things off, get it rolling. Now, see that the jib. Your shrouds are fixed. Okay, I know there's pins that you can move the pins around, but assuming the shrouds are what I would call your mast rake deal. They're determined. So your shrouds are pinned here. Then you're using your forestay for your rig tensioning. Some boats, it's a little reverse from a lot of boats that they tension their rig with their backstay, like whatever, your typical keel boat, a masthead keel boat. They tension the rig with the backstay, but you don't have a backstay. You have your shrouds, and your shrouds are swept back, and your stays are swept back. Okay, unlike a keel boat. Most of the keel boats, your stays and your spreaders are in line. Okay, they're parallel. They're in the same line as the mast. They just hold the mast sideways. There's nothing fore and aft, and they have a backstay to hold the mast from going over the bow. In the case of the albacore, most dinghies, your shrouds are back of the mast a certain amount, a foot, 18 inches or whatever, and they hold the mast from going over the front, and that's what gives you your rig tension. So you pull against the shrouds with your forestay to tension your rig up. Or you can leave your forestay where it is and tighten down your shrouds. Okay, but in the case of the albacore, you don't really move your shrouds down, just let the forestay off, move your pins down, and then pull the forestay back on. So then, at that point, you're changing your mast rake. Okay? You understand what I'm saying here? You're changing the rake when you start moving those pins down. You're not changing your tension. Your tension doesn't change until you wheel on that forestay lock and tackle. That's when the tension changes. Now, I know in windy days, people tend to want to put more, some guys refer to more tension in their rig. What they're really talking about is putting more rake in their rig. So on a windy day, people will drop the mast pin, the shrouds down a hole or two. Because they're really, really going to reef on that force in a windy day, and they're really going to reef on that jib wire. So they want to put their rig down a bit, so when they pull that jib wire really, really tough, they're straightening the mast up. Maybe their rake is a little bit more, but not as much as it would be if they hadn't moved the pins out. But, yeah.
Beside your left wire, there's a left line, right?
There's a Cunningham.
A Cunningham, yeah. And that's sort of factory set. Like it comes tensioned and tuned. And I'm just wondering, what is that tension for? We all cut them off and stick Cunninghams on with glue.
I mean, there is, yeah. We tension because some of the people don't want to, maybe the first year people or whatever, or maybe some of the boats don't have a Cunningham set up. So we pre-tension them so they're set up. And so the average bear can just twice and the sail's going to be fine. But if you have a Cunningham adjustment, of course you just take all that twine that we lashed them. That's just preset in the loft, kind of like a factory setting that it's more or less okay. But if you have a Cunningham adjustment, then you just put your Cunningham on there and it's fine. One of the issues that does happen, and I've sort of noticed a bit, is because there's about that much wire below the foot of the sail, and the Cunningham tends to rock back a bit from the wire, and we're going to put something around that. You know, with the Cunningham, chance for the chalk here. The jib luff wires here, and the sail, the tail, the sail sort of ends maybe here. Okay, the jib's up here, and then your Cunningham goes down here. And this can kind of rock back a bit because the tape on the sail ends. I can show you the sail, but the tape on the sail ends. So this can rock back a bit, and in the interim, it's easy to. I think one of the guys just put a tiny little shack and he put it around the force stand through the sail, or a little tie. I think we're going to get a little plastic tie or something like that and put it around there, but it's something to be aware of. I can show you on the sails. Is there a free jib there? It's any sail. Okay, this is the luff here. If you fold the sail in the middle, fold the luff in half. If you find the center of the luff, the sheeting angle should be right through there. Okay, as a rule of thumb to start. So on a more of a Genoa type sail, the sheeting angle is flatter. But as a rule of thumb, the taller, skinnier the sail, the more vertical your jib sheet is. So,
and what can happen, John, if you're not in the right position with the lead?
Well, some people get all antsy about making sure all the tailtails fly evenly, all the top tailtails. So the top tailtails always tend to break early. And so if you're going to try and, oh, this is not bad. Some of them, okay, is this the adjustment we normally set? Yeah. So this is a little cleat here. Instead of having the Cunningham, you can go forward and pull this cleat and tie it off. If you have a Cunningham adjustment on your boat, you can get rid of all this stuff, okay? Because you're just going to get a Cunningham in here. Now on some of the sails we didn't put a cleat on. This tends to rock back as this comes out of the wire, right? This was not back because the cleat holds it. So sometimes what guys are doing is putting a little tie around here, around the wire, so this stays attached to the wire. This instance here is pretty good, but some of the ones this tape ends up here. Are we still doing this with the jib? This Cunningham? The new jibs?
So.
I think so. Yeah. It's the same finish. Yours is the same as this, yeah.
We all cut it off.
Yeah. And sometimes I think we might be stopping the tape up a little higher here, so there's a bit more free wire, and so this corner does tend to rock. Anyway, just have a look on your jib and see if you have that problem. Okay, the sheeting angle is more or less, as a rule of thumb, if you bisected the left of the sail and drew a line from that right through the clew, that's a pretty good indication of where the line your sheet should be on. So your block then should be on that line.
That determines the fore and aft position of the.
Yeah, it's exactly.
What about the angle to the centre line?
So much depends on the boat, but I don't know. What are you guys sheeting? Does anybody know what the sheeting angle is now? Is it
I don't
10, 11
they're
degrees?
about like 20 inches, 19 inches from the centre line. Or
Yeah.
from the centre line. But is there not an angle that the jib is made for?
Not really. Not really. I mean, a tight sheeting angle would be something around 9 degrees. So if you could, figure that, it's easy to calculate that. But that'd be a pretty narrow sheeting angle. I think between 9 and 12 degrees is sort of a standard sheeting angle for headset. It depends on the wind conditions and a little bit maybe the flat and fullness sails, but more or less the wind conditions. We could probably easily figure that out. I don't know if anybody's done that before, but
And the high aspect, is it that much different?
the high aspect you might be able to get a little bit tighter sheeting angle because there's a bit less overlap on it. The difference is about 4 or 5 inches, I think, like the left versus foot, the high aspect, low aspect, which is a fair amount. The low aspect jibs are probably better reaching sails. When you have a tall, skinny sail, when you okay, we'll take a slightly high aspect sail. Okay, now the sheeting angle we did is really quite vertical here. It's so skinny. When you ease this sheet, the top of the sail opens off so fast because the sheeting angle is so vertical. When it's sheeted it right in, everything's perfect. But as soon as you ease the sheet a little bit, the top opens way off really fast. So you really lose a lot of the top of the sail. When you have a sail that's lower aspect, the sheeting is more flat. Okay, the foot and the leech are close to the same length. When you ease the sheet off, the top is still working pretty well for you. So the low aspect sails are probably better reaching sails. And I know that, like Barney Harris uses a low aspect sail. I'm sure most of who Barney does. And he's pretty fast downwind from what I understand. And I think part of it probably is because he uses a low aspect jib. Now some of the guys swear by the high aspect jib theoretically should be better upwind. But downwind, the low aspect jib is probably a little better. Even with the pawl out too, it's bigger area up here, so there's a bit more jib in it. So that may be one of the factors on why the low aspect is maybe quicker on the.
And what do we have, low or high?
Most of you guys get low. Low.
John, why would the high aspect jib be better upwind?
It's the same. It's the same as keels, the centerboards, the rudders. For the same square footage, higher aspect is more efficient foil. That's why you see all these keels in these boats now. Where, back when they couldn't attach keels to boats, the keel was a huge, wide thing. Now the keels are, a 40-foot boat, and the keel is only 18 inches wide and 40 feet deep. But it's just aspect ratio. When the sails are all trimmed in, a higher aspect foil is more efficient than a lower aspect.
Because you got more cloth up high.
No, it's just aerodynamics. It's like airplanes, like gliders. It was long, skinny wings, and the same square footage as a short, fat one. But the short, fat one doesn't work in a glider. Now, on a supersonic plane, the short, fat one's fine because it has so much power. It doesn't necessarily matter unless they blow the wings off. If they didn't have it right to the plane.
So you're getting more lift and less power.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, more lift for sure. Yeah, more lift for sure. A high aspect keel gives way more lift than a low aspect keel. A high aspect rudder is more lift, for the same square footage. And it's the same with the sails. When they're sheeted in.